Plagiarism is the act of taking someone's work or ideas and passing them off as your own.
Plagiarism involves quite a few things. In a sense, it's sometimes very obvious if you have a cut and paste job when somebody has literally cut something from the internet or somebody else's piece of work and just pasted it into their own. And this is consciously passing off someone's work as your own. But there are more subtle forms where somebody has written something and hasn't properly referenced it, has perhaps put in a diagram that's been acquired from the internet and hasn't said that this has a different author, and in the writing almost implies that the author of the piece of work has constructed this diagram. I've seen examples like that on several occasions.
In written work, you can check for plagiarism in two ways. Most academic institutions have software that allows them to compare the essay they're looking at with previous essays and other publications that appear on the internet. And they will tell you whether a piece of work has a large part of another piece of work in it. And the role of the examiners looking at the work rather than relying on the software is mainly to tell the difference between inadvertent plagiarism and deliberate plagiarism.
I don't know why it happens. I sometimes find myself asking, why has this happened? And it's sometimes, I think, because somebody on a course has come towards the end of the course and is worrying about passing the assessment, hasn't quite got enough time, hasn't planned the way in which they write their assignments, and the easy, quick shortcut seems to be to do a cut and paste job.
If you have written an essay, either on a previous course or on the current course, and somebody asks you to see their essay, you are allowed to show them what you've written.
There's an important distinction to be made between plagiarism and collaborative academic practice. And when two students are collaborating, they're sharing ideas, they're being critical of each other's ideas, and this is highly encouraged. But there are dangers. If somebody says to you, what have you written? What are you submitting? It's absolutely fine to read with them what you've written if it's reciprocal and you're reading their approach too. That is highly encouraged. That's about being part of a learning community.
But bear in mind that if they subsequently plagiarise, you will be asked to describe your role in their plagiarism. Therefore, it's probably good advice, if you're going to show somebody your essay, not to give them a hard copy, and certainly not to give them an electric copy.
Because the dangers are so real. It can be, for a few people, just too tempting to cut and paste a wonderful paragraph that you've written and plonk it into the middle of their piece of work. That will be detected, and that will get you into trouble, not just them. The university assumes that it takes two to tango, that it takes two people to plagiarise, and they very often see students colluding together in order to try to pass exams. So the underlying assumption is always that the donor is as guilty as the person who has copied a piece of work.
The implications of deliberate plagiarism are that there are concerns around the practitioner's probity. And for a clinician, this would mean referring to their professional body. In the case of doctors, the General Medical Council. In the case of nurses, the Nursing and Midwifery Council.
It's not pleasant. It goes on for months or years. It could remove you from your clinical practice. It just isn't worth it. Don't plagiarise.
If you're a student on our postgraduate certificate course, you'll find essential information on this topic in the course handbook.